Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this Monday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. Up first, no hazardous weather graphics, and we'll watch his warnings or advisories for any type of weather around the state, probably for the next couple of days, so we'll just go right to the fire danger graphic. Big increase here over what we saw yesterday, back into the quite an area of extreme fire danger over the Yukon Flats there, up to the almost up to the Brooks Range. High fire danger all the way west, covering much of the Seward Peninsula and down northwest of the Yukon River Valley, the lower valley, into the delta there. And a pretty good area of extreme fire danger showed up today here from Ambler, maybe the Selawik Valley area or the Kobuk Valley, and then back up along the Noatak Valley there in the northwest. And that mostly due to some pretty gusty winds today, anywhere from 25 to 30 miles an hour reported at Kotzebue and Noatak. Even windier up in the DeLong Mountains there, western Brooks Range. Some cases 45, and Howard Pass had gusts of 55 miles per hour today, and that's one of the contributing factors to the big jump in the fire danger there. Then some spotty areas of extreme fire danger here from, well, near or just west of the Koyukuk Valley, back out into the central Seward Peninsula area. And moving on to satellite imagery, we've had a upward disturbance. See kind of a circulation right here that's dropped down from the eastern Arctic coast, Beaufort Sea, over the weekend, now in about this position at mid-afternoon Monday. That's what helped kick those winds up here, along with clear skies, sunshine, increase those fire dangers up to the northwest there, gradient between that and higher pressure back up to the northwest. And clear skies here once again for days in a row now over the northern Bering Sea, St. Lawrence Island. Kind of a band of mid or high stuff right through here, really not too significant associated with that disturbance. Lots of clouds here as you get into southern Alaska. Some breaks though over the, looks like mainly the Kuskokwim or the Yukon Delta, cloudy or partly to mostly cloudy there, with areas of showers here, but nothing too significant in the way. Also thunderstorms developing along a trough axis, mostly along this band here, and then to a lesser extent with this band. Mostly with that feature coming southward, the break in between earlier allowed enough heating to trigger some thunderstorms, almost down into the, definitely in the Kuskokwim Valley, and with Sleep Meet picked up 1/4 of an inch of rain during the day today due to showers or maybe a thunderstorm that was close by. And then lesser isolated thunderstorms into the, looked like the central Tanana Valley there, not right at Fairbanks. Temperatures not too bad, lower 70s there through the Tanana Valley, and 60s to maybe near 70 up over the upper Yukon areas, and near 70, pretty isolated. Most everyone was in the 60s here over southern Alaska with light rainfall amounts on the North Gulf Coast. Kodiak Island, though, picking about 1/2 inch of precipitation here with this cloudiness and that low pressure both at the surface and aloft just southeast of the island there. Main batch of moisture pushing into the panhandle today. Ketchikan, 1/2 inch of rain, and at least some measurable rain fell across just about all the southeast coast, North Gulf Coast as well. Juneau also had 1/2 inch of rain, 12-hour period ending at 3 p.m. and Haines, 3/4 of an inch of precipitation during the same time period. And that due to this front pushing right on into the area there with southwest flow. Main low center and upper level center hanging back to the west here, but even that's starting to slide off to the northeast here. And over the next day or so, we'll be passing right over the southeast coast. So probably this will be the last shot of the heavier, steadier rain. It's going to stay cloudy, mostly cloudy, unsettled, and showery until this feature gets all the way out. That may take the next 48 hours. Otherwise, thunderstorms kind of isolated here over the Alaska Range or possibly into the 40-mile country, central Tanana Valley. A little more extensive in this zone right through here with that 998 millibar low center associated with the upper low. Otherwise, to the northwest, some sunshine. To the west, areas of sunshine all the way from the western Arctic coast right down into the Yukon Delta. And looks like some showers trying to move into the Kuskokwim Valley there. Bethel also seeing winds gusting out of the northwest to 30 miles an hour, and breezy, but not too bad by comparison here over the Alaska Peninsula's breezes with clouds and maybe some showers possible, real isolated light rainfall amounts here, maybe some fog into the Pribilofs, same pattern here. You can see quite an area of cloudiness along and to the east of this ridge of high pressure here. It's starting to weaken a little bit now, and we're seeing a front will start to edge its way onto the chart later tonight. Rain staying west of Attenweller though, but the ridging out here at the surface not looking as impressive as it has, starting to weaken, collapse a little bit. Weak disturbance here may bring some low clouds, fog, and drizzle that may affect AKwx, otherwise no effect at all, staying west of the Pribilofs, and still that low cloud and drizzle possibility. Eastern Aleutians, Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula. Very weak trough here may trigger a few showers, northeast Bristol Bay, the Aleutian Range. And looks like thunderstorms could linger through the entire night here near this low center over the northern Kuskokwim Valley areas. Otherwise, activity will be slowly diminishing and tending to end here, except along this trough axis. And generally decreasing the clouds as well, staying clear up to the north. Looks like less gradient, so those winds will diminish here in the northwest areas, but stay a little breezy along the coast here, along the southwest coast, Nunivak Island, Tuksuk Bay, and maybe kind of breezy in areas, but nothing too serious wind-wise for the Alaska Peninsula. And precipitation now, with that front moving into Canada and weakening, will slowly begin to taper off and become more showery. But another batch of rain with this system looks more impressive than what it actually is. But it will push some more rain in toward and across the southern southeast coast tomorrow. And so look for periods of light rain, possible fog mainly along the coast there, definitely cloudy skies, a little more showery, and the precipitation will be a little more showery and possibly scattered here over the northern southeast coast, but quite an area, kind of an easterly wave coming west-northwestward, so that's going to tend to spread precipitation and increase it over the Wrangell Mountains up to the eastern Alaska Range, and some of that may even slip on into the 40-mile country and upper Tanana Valley. Risk of thunderstorms there, better chance north of the mountains and to the south, and also scattered isolated thunderstorms possible anywhere here from the Kuskokwim Valley north or near Denali Park and back all the way out to the Yukon Delta coast, as well as northeast Bristol Bay, southern Kuskokwim Valley area, or the southwest mountains. Sunny skies, mostly sunny skies here over the northern half of the state, with temperatures pushing into the mid-70s, maybe even upper 70s, but that'll be more of a feature for the following day on Tuesday. Out to the west, that front probably edges a little bit of moisture into Attenweller. Otherwise, ridge starting to weaken, but that front really not very active at all. And so we got two weak features out there battling it out. High pressure stays at the surface there along the Arctic Ocean for pretty good conditions up along the Arctic coast and North Slope. And then for Wednesday, maybe look for an increase in the low clouds, fog possibly here, maybe some drizzle, just our risk of there for the eastern Arctic coastal areas, because that usually translates into low flying conditions. Thunderstorms now a little farther to the north. Looks like they'll be along this trough axis or along and just south of it, of a isolated to scattered nature. In fact, this whole area here really not as bad as the way it looks here. I think there'll be more sunshine. Really not a lot of moisture available now for thunderstorm activity, or let alone showers. Really weak trough here. Again, this even looks worse than it probably will be. It could be an isolated shower too, maybe some drizzle along the coastal areas, right on down to the Alaska Peninsula. Otherwise, high pressure is trying to hold on here to the Bering Sea, and that's having continued weakening effect on that weak front. So band of moisture there stays out over the western Aleutians, and that whole not even much wind, definitely not a factor, virtually no gradient at the surface with it at all. And the southeast coast improving here as that trough moves into Canada. Looking at lows tonight, upper 40s, lower 50s there for the southeast coast, 50 to 55 over the central western interior, lower 30s Arctic coast. Highs tomorrow, 70, 75 central interior, right up into the Noatak Valley, Seward Peninsula, 70 into the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. And then lows the following morning, looking pretty mild in the interior from west or east to west here. 52 forecast low at Nome, otherwise 50 to 55 here in western areas. Lower to mid 30s Arctic coast, and followed by highs. A little warmer, and the 70s becoming a lot more widespread, so I'll call it 75 to 82 or 3 here, anywhere over the central and northern interior areas, and 65 to 75 for south central Alaska.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Moving on to flying weather, first graphic here for Tuesday morning, IFR, Aleutians, most of the Aleutians, well, all of the Aleutians, into the southern Bering Sea, northern Bering Sea, on into Bristol Bay, and northward across the western central interior. Good VFR, and some IFR and marginal VFR there for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. Marginal VFR, western central Alaska range, even on the east side there, south of the mountains, across the Copper River Basin. Pretty widespread marginal VFR here, southern Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, Kodiak Island, right on in across the southeast coast. And for the afternoon, that becomes VFR here, Kodiak, right up into south central Alaska, Prince William Sound, all the way up to the Arctic coast. And marginal VFR now, just the extreme eastern area here, on down across the northern and eastern portion of the southeast coast, IFR back out over the Bering Sea. And then for Wednesday morning, good VFR here, interior Alaska, right on up and off the Arctic coast. IFR along the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula here, and then becomes more widespread out over the central Aleutians northward to near St. Matthew Island. VFR again, the Bering Strait, St. Lawrence Island, on up into the Chukchi Sea, and then down along the southwest coast again, including Nunivak Island and Pribilofs right on the edge. And moving to Wednesday afternoon, Pribilofs now in the IFR, down across Unalaska and Nikolsky, Dutch Harbor, and those areas, as well as, well, all of the Aleutians, and IFR along the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula. Some VFR on the south side. Kodiak, mostly marginal until you get to Fognak Island, and it's VFR from there up across Cook Inlet, right on up to the Arctic coast, maybe some marginal VFR grazing the central areas. Otherwise, some marginal also near the Wrangell Mountains, and marginal VFR for the Panhandle. Anaktuvik and Adigan both look to be VFR tomorrow. And for Adigan as well, as I mentioned, Lake Clark and Merrill or VFR. There'll be clouds and maybe some showers around the passes, but it should be the VFR variety. And for rainy, VFR tomorrow, and windy, VFR. Isabel, VFR, we've got easterly wave moisture coming in from the east or east-southeast, so look for conditions to become marginal VFR probably during the late morning hours. And from Antasta, starting out IFR there with the moisture in over you during the morning hours, general improvement in the conditions throughout the entire day to VFR in the latter part of the afternoon or sooner. Could start out IFR, may only be marginal, but just the trend will be low conditions early and better in the afternoon. Tanita, VFR, and then with that moisture sliding westward, becoming marginal, that could occur by noontime. And for Portage, marginal VFR becoming VFR, or either or throughout the entire day. And for the Chilkoot and White Passes, marginal VFR. Freezing levels, 6,000 feet here, roughly, well, about Anchorage and the Connect Arm area, Palmer, eastward along the North Gulf Coast, northern Panhandle on down 6,000 feet, 8,000 feet here up to, well, the Kobuk-Selawik Valley areas, and then that pattern a little bit cooler, maybe 7,000 feet there for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, and then 8,000 feet for the Bering Sea and Aleutians. Way out west is a 10,000 foot line. And for icing, a weak front could bring some areas of light to isolated moderate rime icing above 8,000 feet over the far western Aleutians. Nothing over the Bering Sea and much of the interior. And with that moisture slipping westward here, could have actually a zone of considerable moderate rime or mixed icing with that feature. And then here also some moderate icing also possible there for the southern southeast coast. And for the jet stream, still ridging here over the Russian Far East, but a flow, this upper level low actually coming southeastward up over the eastern Arctic, or actually into the right around the North Slope today. It's going to drop into the lower Yukon Valley and Delta area tomorrow, so it'll be about 50, 70 knot wind wrapping around that. 140 knots kicking in south of the Panhandle, and for 3,000 feet or 9,000 northwest, 15 to 25 here, eastern Bering Sea. Weak flow here over interior Alaska, maybe 15 to 20 over the Panhandle, and light winds over the Bering Sea and the Aleutians. Same pattern, light winds, Bering Sea, Aleutians, and also light wind conditions, maybe 5 to 15 around that weak low there near the Kuskokwim Valley. And the Panhandle, light winds and turbulence, no significant turbulence expected.
It used to be that you could only warn one person about a tornado after it had already blown down someone else's barn.
Now, on average, we're able to issue a tornado warning 15 minutes before the tornado's even there, and that wouldn't be happening without Doppler radar.
This NexRad system has reduced fatalities on the order of 45% due to tornadoes since its advent.
We have a lot more information now about storms and being able to understand how they develop, how they produce severe weather, and how that information might be used to improve warnings for our National Weather Service partners.
The lab is unique in that we serve the nation by supporting the National Weather Service in its mission to protect lives and safe property by improving the accuracy and the lead time of severe weather warnings.
We have a legacy of radar research and converting existing technology from military to weather purposes.
A recycled Doppler radar led to the development of NexRad, installed nationwide in the early 90s. It allowed forecasters to see storms like never before.
Not only did we help bring that technology to the National Weather Service and to help protect lives and property, but we have continued to upgrade that technology, keep it relevant, and keep it state-of-the-art.
Recently, a major upgrade was added. Dual polarization technology takes the radar from 2D to 3D. Forecasters now know more about what type of precipitation is falling, which is very helpful during winter storms, as well as how much rain is accumulating, resulting in better flash flood warnings. The radar can also detect and track tornadoes based on debris. Looking to the future, the National Severe Storms Lab is testing the capabilities of phased array radar. Originally used by the U.S. Navy, the antenna scans the skies electronically rather than mechanically, allowing the radar to focus on a storm.
With current technology, we get a full picture or image of what is going on within a storm every 4 to 5 minutes. So it's more like a snapshot. Whereas with phased array radar, we get that picture of what's going on in the storm every minute. So it becomes more like watching a movie. So we can do adaptive, rapid scanning on the storms that matter most, being able to provide the information that's most relevant when and where it's happening.
Another advantage of phased array radar is its multifunction capability, providing weather and air traffic information simultaneously.
Number one, it is a system that promises to replace and expand upon the existing weather surveillance radars. Secondly, to replace aging air traffic surveillance radars. And number three, it offers a potential application to meet Department of Homeland Security and defense requirements for identifying and tracking non-cooperative aircraft. With the replacement of all these various radars with a single system, the American taxpayer could realize substantial savings in cost.
You have a lot fewer radars to maintain, and the electronic capability of this also reduces maintenance costs because you do not have moving parts.
Not too long ago, the ability to predict severe weather was thought to be impossible. During the past several decades, research conducted at the National Severe Storms Lab has developed life-saving tools like Doppler radar. We've progressed from no warning of threatening weather to about a 15-minute lead time, and current research promises to extend that much further.
Our knowledge of severe storms and how they behave, and our use and ability to use the Doppler radar technology is in a lot of cases a direct result of that close working relationship, that research to operations component that we get between the National Severe Storms Laboratory and a forecast office.
That history and understanding of how these data can be used by our users and doing the research to help advance the use of radar technology, really it's what we live for, it's in our lifeblood, it's in our history.
It's now easier than ever to be a part of weather research. We just launched the mPing app for both iPhone and Android users, and it's totally free. PING, which stands for Precipitation Identification Near the Ground, is a research project by the NOAA National Severe Storms Lab and the University of Oklahoma. With the mobile app, you can send us your weather observations on the go. Are snowflakes falling on your head? Is hail hitting your car? Just select what type of precipitation is falling and press submit. It's that easy. It takes about 5 seconds and it's anonymous. Reports can then be viewed online. Our scientists will compare your report with what the radar has detected. This helps us develop new radar technologies and techniques. Download the app today, share your reports, and let's work together to make our nation weather ready. Learn more here and follow us.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Looking at today's sea ice analysis. Not much change from yesterday. This area right through here, the ice edge, maybe a tad farther to the south than it was yesterday, but over the next several days, really not looking for any big changes to occur either in the Chukchi Sea or the Beaufort. Winds kind of going one way or the other over the next 5-day period, south back to north. So everything will just be continuing to sort of oscillate around and holding a stationary status quo. Moving to the coastal water forecast along the southeast coast, windiest or breeziest here on the south coast. Lighter winds up to the north, 15 to 20 knots there on the south side to 5 to 10 from the south-southwest direction up north. Lynn Canal, though, smoke-craft advisories. South winds increasing tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon, 25 knots from the south. Stevens Passage, Clarence Strait, southerlies of 15, seas 3 feet. Moving on to Wednesday, northwest 15 for Clarence Strait, light south winds at 10 for Stevens Passage, southeast 15, Lynn Canal, and then northwest 15 to 20 knots on the north coast. Northwesterlies 15 knots on the south coast with seas running 6 to 7 feet. Prince William Sound, light east winds tomorrow with slight seas and variable at 10 for the North Gulf Coast. Seas running around 6 feet, south 10 knots for the Barren Islands, southeast 15, Kamishak Bay, and south to southwest breeze in the afternoon for Cook Inlet at about 15 knots with 4-foot seas. Southwest 10 for Wednesday here for Cook Inlet, seas at about 4 feet. Light southwest winds for Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands. 4-foot sea or 2-foot seas, Kamishak Bay, 4 feet for the Barrens, and southwest 15 for the North Gulf Coast. Seas 5 to 6 feet and southwest at 10 with 2-foot seas, Prince William Sound. Kodiak Island and Chillicothe Strait, west-southwest at about 10 with seas up to 6 feet there on the Pacific side. And Sitkinak to Castle Cape, southwest 15, seas 6 feet, west winds 20 knots with 5 to 6 foot seas for the Alaska Peninsula, southwest 20 for Bristol Bay, seas 4 feet. Outlook for Wednesday, a little lighter there in Bristol Bay, southwest at 15, 4-foot seas, west 15 for the peninsula, seas 5 feet, and as you get up towards Sitkinak, light southwest winds at 10, and that pattern will extend right up through Chillicothe Strait and west at about 10, so pretty light winds there all around Kodiak Island. Fox Islands tomorrow, looks like again windiest will be Unalaska Island, west-northwest at 20, otherwise down to 15 here for Unmac Island, west 15 also for Adak and Atka. Seas not bad, 3 to 4 feet, pretty low there, and 3 feet, 10 knot winds, 3-foot seas all the way back to Amchitka, possibly Kiska, far western area due to that front up to 20 knots, 6-foot seas, and then that front's so weak you only have 15-knot breeze the next day out of the southwest. Light westerlies here from Kiska Island eastward to Adak and Atka, and not much different, call it 10 to 15 here for the Fox Islands. Seas running 3 to 4 feet. And for the southwest coast, northwest winds tomorrow at 20 knots, seas 5 feet, west 15 for the Pribilofs, a little bit breezier for St. Matthew Island with winds at 20 knots there with 4-foot seas. And for St. Lawrence Island, north 15, 5-foot seas, northeast of 15 for Norton Sound with 3-foot seas. And then southeast 10 for Norton Sound, northwest 10 there for St. Lawrence Island. So it kind of light and variable actually there in those areas. West 15 here for the southwest coast, west 15 St. Matthew Island, light southerlies at maybe 10 knots for the Pribilofs with 4-foot seas. Eastern Boulevard Sea Coast, light winds, light westerly drift, 5 to 10 knots, 1 to 2 foot seas, west 10 on the central coast, northwest 15 here on the west side, all the way down to Cape Thompson, and that turns northerly at 15, Cape Thompson to Wales. And for Wednesday, really light winds, call it variable northwest, only 5 knots, and then northeast 10 to 15 on the west coast, and central to the east side there, light east winds at 10, and practically down to calm conditions there as you get over toward demarcation point. And for tonight again, rain, that front weakening, pushing off into Canada, so rain will slowly be following it along, and that'll become more showery later tonight. Still some moisture though off the coast, especially with this next surge of moisture. Not a real strong system, but strong enough it'll bring more rain back in of the light variety. And diminishing showers and thunderstorms tending to linger here in the Kuskokwim Valley possibly, and staying fair up to the north. Tomorrow, sunny and a little warmer here over the central northern interior. And isolated scattered thunderstorms possible again, northeast Bristol Bay, anywhere across southern Alaska, north and west of the Alaska Range. More rain in the Panhandle. And the outlook for Wednesday, sunny and warmer, isolated thunderstorms along this trough axis in the interior. Thank you for joining us.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.